Hey guys, thought I'd do a quick video of just drawing in nature. All you really need is a pencil and a piece of paper, a clipboard if you have it. If you don't have a clipboard, just grab a hard book. I've been doing a lot of tree work this week, so I found, as I was clearing some trees, this gem, which has a lot of really great textures on it. A lot of bark peeling off, some moss, some old dead wood sticking out of it. So that's what I'm going to attempt to draw. So I'm just going to kind of take a few minutes to look at it and figure out what part of it I want to draw. And then I'm going to lay it out on my paper. So I've started to lay it out already, and really just kind of laying out the basic shape of it to start is usually where I start. So just the part that's where you can see the inside of the tree. And then it's a little windy out, but I'm also going to draw the bark part that's going off the page. So I'm just going to share a couple of tricks and tips. First, I would lay out the log on my paper, and a way to simplify or flatten the 3D image that you're looking at, because drawing from 3D is a lot harder than drawing from 2D. But one trick is to close your eye and really trace the shape with your pencil with one of your eyes closed, and that just gives you a little bit of practice of what kind of shapes you're going to be making on your paper. So I have the inside of the tree, this is my mossy area, and I'm going to have some birch coming out as well. Sorry, I accidentally turned my phone off. But first thing I have done is just kind of lay out where I want my moss to be. And really, you can add color and do whatever you want, but since I'm drawing with pencil, I'm just kind of thinking about the furriness of the moss. So I'm kind of just going to scribble like some furry areas of my moss. When I think about the texture of the peeling bark, I'm really noticing a lot of lines that are curving around the tree. And by around, I don't mean up and down, straight up and down, but really thinking about going in a curve that mimics the way the tree goes. So if this is one of my pieces of bark, the lines are really going to have a little bit of a curve there. So this is one of the pieces that's kind of peeling off. And just outline it, but underneath it, you're going to see some black and white curved lines to really show that texture. To make this piece look like it's coming off, you can just add a little bit of shadow underneath it. So there's going to be a shadow cast by the piece of bark that's coming off. You can just kind of smudge it a little bit with your finger. And on the top of the bark, my eraser is a little bit gone, is going to be the highlight. So it's going to be lighter on the top of the bark but darker underneath the bark, where the shadow is cast, where the light can't hit because the bark is blocking the light. So another area right here of my bark peeling would be underneath where the bark is peeling. There would be a shadow, so underneath it I'm going to give it a little bit of lead and then just fade it out with my finger. And then on top of it, it would be whiter, because that's where the sun would be, or the light would be hitting, depending on how sunny it is that day. For the inside of my tree, where you can see the dead wood, the lines are really going straight. So I'm kind of gonna just draw some lines going straight out this way to kind of give it that wood texture. And there will be darker areas, like right here would be a darker area, and there will be lighter areas. To make it look more convincing, you really don't want to show your pencil lines too much, although some of your pencil lines can show a little bit because of the nature of the bark is pretty liney. So here we go. So that would be like a darker area, and just kind of suggesting some lines on the wood. And then around the edges, just kind of showing the 3D-ness of the wood, making it look a little bit more 3D. But really, you probably won't be drawing this exact picture, so you can decide to draw whatever you want to draw. Wood piles are kind of cool because they have those repeating shapes. Some of you guys might have some crocuses blossoming that you might grab. Also, you can obviously just draw inside anything you find and want to set up for yourself, or just something that you observe. that's already just laying out in a specific way around your room. But the steps for this really are to choose what you're going to draw. Don't draw too much on one piece of paper. You really want to zoom in and make life easier for yourself, especially for your first one. But lay out the whole composition, the whole page first, and then go in and add some of your finer details. So good luck. If you're trying to draw a specific thing, and you really just are having a hard time with that thing, like pretend you were drawing this tree bark and you were wanting to know how to draw tree bark, you know, you can Google how to draw tree bark. Or one good thing I usually do is Google tree bark drawing, and you can see how somebody else has drawn it and kind of steal some of their techniques, and try it in your own artwork. Same with moss drawing. So all right, I hope this is an inspiring project for you guys, and if you do end up doing it, I would love to see your finished projects or your not so finished projects. Just email them to me and I will try to share them on a slideshow on our Google Classroom. Hey guys, just a little bit of an addition to the nature drawing video. If you want to come inside when you're finished with your outside work, one great thing to do is to add black marker. You can use a micron pen if you have one, or an ultrafine Sharpies are really great as well. So you can just go in and add some defining lines. When I go in and do this, to draw the moss, you're really not drawing everything that you see. You're kind of just giving the impression of whatever it is that you're trying to draw or looking at. So I'm just kind of drawing some like scribble lines for my moss, and you can kind of just zoom in and look at those. Let's see, can you see those? Yeah. So I'm really just like drawing little curly cues. Same thing for this. This is where the wood was kind of coming in. I'm not drawing straight lines. I'm kind of like lifting my pen off the page to just give little suggestions of texture. And a couple things you want to think about is which directions the lines go in and where the dark parts and light parts are. So for this dark part right here, I didn't just straight color. I'm really just kind of like scribbling in and building up the lines. And that's just going to give you more of a natural look. So for the bark part, the lines, and I've already said this, but the lines are really curved. They don't go up and down. They really curve as the log curves. And if you're confused as to what direction the lines go in, just close one of your eyes and trace the lines, and that will give your hand a feel of what direction you're trying to go in. So if I was going to add some lines for the bark, I would kind of come in here and just curve around. And you can, let me zoom out, zoom in, you can, some of you guys, I've taught you this, but some of you guys, if you kind of like keep your hand anchored on the bone of your wrist, you can kind of make an easier curve. So if your hand kind of becomes a compass. So you can kind of just like keep it anchored here. And that'll give you a more natural curve. You guys might hear my kids yelling at each other in the background. So this is just another addition of what you guys can do to have a more finished product. Again, if you prefer pencil, you can just keep up with the pencil, and pencils are great because you can smudge the lead to kind of suggest some of those shadows, and which will make the highlights and the lighter parts pop out a little bit more. So just a couple of fun ideas and tips and tricks. If you do go outside and sit in the middle of the woods, do know that it is tick season, and you just want to check yourself if you're sitting in the middle of a leaf pile or in the middle of the thick woods. So keep that in mind. All right, thank you.